a buddy in the Brew blog here with Todd Hicks, Serda Brewing. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man.
Awesome. So how long have you been in the brewing business?
I started brewing beer professionally in 1993 with the Port City Brewery. That was the first brew pub here in Mobile, Alabama, the first brew pub in Alabama since Prohibition. So I guess that's 27, 28 years.
Awesome. So how would you say the market for brewing is in Mobile?
Mobile's always had a pretty strong beer market. A lot of it back in the 80s and early 90s when I got into craft beer. It was still kind of focused around your typical Bud Miller, Coors, and some of the crafty beers that came out. But since the advent of the brew pub, when they opened, that started winning hearts and minds. And all these years later, there's a very strong craft following in Alabama and in Mobile especially.
Awesome. So, Serda, how long have you been open? How long has Serda Brewing been open?
Serda Brewing Company, we've been open for just a little over a year. We opened the day after Thanksgiving, 2017, with our grand opening in December. So now we're just a few months over a year into it. So far so good.
All right. So far, what would you say is your most popular beer?
They're actually pretty even. We have 4 core beers that are in distribution. Hook, Line, Lager, Pilsner, Tidewater, Vienna, Mobile Bay IPA, and Clear Prop Porter. All of those beers are in cans. Well, the Clear Prop Porter will be going into cans in March, but those have been our leading beers, and they account for the majority of our sales. So between those being about half of what we do, middle of last year we introduced seasonal beers. So we put out a Hefeweizen and then an Oktoberfest beer. So right now we're getting ready to start brewing this year's Hefeweizen and put that on the market in March as well.
Awesome. So for those that's not into craft brewing, this is kind of a two-part question. So one, with all the beers that you have, do they all pretty much use the same ingredients, or is it like a major difference between?
All of our beers have a big difference between the core beers, especially. So we kind of cover the gamut. We're brewing for our core beers mostly German-style beers. So we have a German-style Pilsner, a Vienna and Amber Lager. Even our Mobile Bay IPA originally was a German-themed IPA, but it's kind of evolved into a more mainstream American IPA style. And our Clear Prop is a Baltic Porter, which was, a Swiss, German, originally a Swiss and German style beer.
Gotcha.
So the ingredients vary because the beers are vastly different from each other.
Gotcha. Okay, so the second part of that question is, for someone that's a traditionalist with beer, is there what would you say to try to convince them to just give craft beer a try?
Well, beer is beer. I mean, craft beer is just beer that's brewed in, smaller batches. A little more care is taken. It's not made by robots in a giant factory.
Right.
So that's really the only thing that craft is. You're going to have a richer flavor, bolder product most of the time. But it depends on what it is. It's all part of the buy local, support local businesses, rather than some mega beer that's brewed in vast quantities, that doesn't have a lot of personality. So I don't really argue with somebody's preference in beer or drinking or whatever. And there's a place in the industry, a place in people's palates for all kinds of beers.
Right.
Give craft a beer to try something different. Just like, going and buying boar's head meats instead of Oscar Mayer bologna. So do you want a higher quality product or not? So That's kind of where it is.
Gotcha. All right, so that's all I have. Can you give us your Instagram, Twitter, or whatever to social media?
Just look for Serda Brewing Company and all of the above, and we should pop right up. And our website is serdabrewing.com, and we've got links to all of our socials on that.
Awesome. All right, thank you for your time, man.
I appreciate it.
All right.